Hey guys, welcome to Dual Pulse TCG. Today we will be doing episode 5 of straightforward deck list, looking at Oracle Think Tank, specifically a turbo version of Goddess of the Full Moon Tsukuyomi. And this entire deck is just trying to turbo out a full activation of Victorious Deer on turn 3. So we're going to be going over the basics of each card, what they do, why they're in there. If you need to pause the video to read the exact text, go for it. But let's get to it. Starting off with 4 copies of Goddess of the Full Moon Tsukuyomi. This is going to be the main Vanguard ride we want to get, and her skill is Act. On Van, once per turn, cost, counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand, choose up to 3 cards of Tsukuyomi and their card names from your soul, and draw cards equal to the number of cards chosen. If you drew 3 cards, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, put up to 2 from among them on top of your deck in A order, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in A order. So if we have 3 Tsukuyomi units in Soul, we reveal them to our opponent, we look at the top 5. We usually want to put 2 triggers on top of our deck. That way when we do our drive checks, that's what we see, which leads to her second skill, which is Auto. On Van, when you reveal 2 or more triggers during your drive check this turn, until end of turn, 3 of your front row units get plus 10k power. So we're using her to net cards, but we're also using her to stack our deck, so she is an extremely versatile and strong Vanguard. Our support grade 3 lineup is 4 copies of Evil Eye Princess Uriel. She allows us to soul charge units every time we look at our deck by an effect, so we're really looking to hit grade 3s to generate into our soul, so that way we can activate Victorious Deer skill. 3 copies of Victorious Deer. This entire deck is built around activating this card's skill going into our turn 3 ride. And this card's skill is Act. On Van or Rearguard, once per turn cost, Soul Blast 2 grade 3s and discard a card from your hand. Look at 7 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 2 critical triggers from among them. Put the reveal cards on top of your deck in A order. Shuffle the rest of the cards looked at. Put them on the bottom of your deck, and 6 of your units get power plus 10,000 until the end of turn. So using this card, we're going to create huge columns, and if we have Tsukuyomi as our Vanguard, when we do drive checks, we will get an additional 10,000 to our front row, since we will be revealing 2 triggers off of our drive checks. So we're just trying to pressure our opponent into either guarding extremely early or taking possibly lethal damage going into grade 3. Our grade 2 lineup is 4 copies of Goddess of the Half Moon Tsukuyomi. Because we are playing the grade 3 Tsukuyomi, we're required to play the entire chain, just so that way we can have a way to either 1, search out other cards, and also 2, we want to fully be able to activate Tsukuyomi's skill off of her grade 3 ability. So we play 4 copies. 4 copies of Battle Sister Chaquette. We use her skill to search out grade 3s that we can then soul charge using Uriel's skill. And 2 copies of Rectangle Magus. This is just another way for us to stack our deck and also to find units that we need. She also is another way for us to use Uriel's skill to soul charge cards into our soul. The grade 1 lineup is 4 copies of Goddess of the Crescent Moon Tsukuyomi. If we're running the grade 3, we really need to run the grade 1 as well, even though outside of riding her as our first Vanguard, she's basically just a vanilla booster, but we still need to run 4 copies. 4 copies of Kuar Magus. She just allows us to look at the top 2 cards of our deck and place them back in any order. So her ability will combo with Uriel. And 4 copies of Miko of Elegance Femino. She's just another way for us to look for grade 3s that we can then soul charge using Uriel's skill, so that way we can activate Victorious Deer turn 3. Our trigger lineup is 10 critical, 2 perfect draw, and 4 heal. We run the 2 perfect draws just for the force matchups in case we need to grind a few extra turns against them. The heals are there also for the grinding matchups as well. We run the 10 critical because, one, we don't play Tetramagus, so we're not able to put critical triggers from our hand back into our deck. And because our entire deck is around using critical triggers, specifically with Victorious Deer, we want to optimize our chances of hitting those triggers off of abilities, but also we want to be able to, if possible, optimize our chances of hitting the triggers during our earlier drive checks, specifically before our grade 3s, to put that early game pressure on our opponent, so that way we can finish the game quickly. Thanks again, guys, for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more future content. But let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of this specific deck? Is there a couple things that you would change? You know, it is a fun deck. It's not necessarily a competitive deck, but it is fun to flex on your friends if you're able to hit the entire combo off of your first grade 3 ride. But thanks again, guys, for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.